Welcome to the Black Doctor Collective podcast. We as Black doctors are in a unique position. We can change our communities, healthcare, and the world. Of course, we start by changing the way we see and value ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Shanika Horn, pediatrician and physician coach, travel extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you here and listening. So let's get into it.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Kimmy, CEO of the Dr. Coach School, and
I'm Dr. Daa'iyah.
I'm Dr. Kimberly.
Dr. Shanika.
so we are sitting here having a pajama chat, and we thought we would bring y'all into it.
Yay.
Because we have thoughts. We have a lot of controversial thoughts about this. A group of thought leaders. We've been thinking.
You can't be a thought leader if you don't think.
You cannot be a thought leader if you don't think. So we wanted to talk to y'all about this because we started having this conversation. We were like, wait, we need to record this for the girls. So who wants to kind of share where, like, the origin of it? Do we even remember?
Yeah, I don't remember the full context.
I don't either.
I think we were talking about that sometimes there's a lack of support for Black women entrepreneurs unless they are producing a product or like a very tangible service. So when we hear about Black women who are coaching or providing maybe a service that's not like a beauty service, not like hair or whatever, that there's not the same level of support that you get when you are doing things that they think fit within the role of who you should be and who you are.
For context, we are all doctor coaches. So
Yes.
we make money with our brain, with our intellectual property. And that's the like background. And yes, so we were talking about just showing up and selling, frankly.
Yeah.
But selling something that's intangible and how that triggers people.
But why specifically with Black women is it a problem? Because I feel like there is something with Black women specifically that we have to have something to show. Like, look at this is what I made.
So I think it's because of the way we've been kind of indoctrinated, frankly.
Yes.
That, like, in this country, we were brought here to make stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
And we were brought here to make stuff.
Or use our bodies to provide something.
It was produced in milk for the white man's babies. Like, it has to be about production. Like, there needs to be a physical, tangible, something I can touch. And for us, it's a huge shift for us to think about, I can be making money, but there's no, I can't touch the thing. Like, and
I also think like we're dissuaded from empowering our own community, right? Because we can be in service to other people, right? Or we can produce things for other people. But like when it comes to something that is lifting other people higher, especially within our own communities, like serving your own community in a way that elevates, it's immediately seen as a threat. And I think that that's something that even is internalized within our communities. So there's like elements of internalized racism that just perpetuate this.
so do you think do I hear you saying like us elevating Black women, that like other Black women, that like the internalized racism makes us not?
So one thing that came to me in just this time that I've been an entrepreneur, like I've had experiences that made me come to the conclusion that professionals, including physicians, we have reached the point where we know that we are worthy of making a lot of money. We are worthy of it. And I think that took some time for that to be like commonly accepted. But I think we have not yet gotten to the point where it is normalized that it's okay for us to make money without physically moving our bodies, getting up, touching things, like making money without having to put your body to work or get up and go to work. And I think it stems from what you guys are talking about, like this subconscious idea that we are still the workforce.
But it's so funny because it's like so in our culture now of like ease and like soft life.
Yeah, but that's a rebellious notion still, right? Like if you think about women like Trisha Hershey, who's like NAP minister, who talks about rest is resistance, right? We are adapting that idea based on, like, there was first of all, COVID and all these things created a self-care movement, right? So everyone was like, I could just die anytime. Like, I better take care of myself.
Yeah.
So there was like that. And then it was specifically, how do we create this soft life, this luxury life? But even in that movement, it is, all the self-care things are superficial things, right? It's not true development of, like you're saying, like, wealth through my brain power. It is like, what's my little hustle that I can do to create wealth?
Exactly.
Which
And this
is
soft life, it's like an escapism thing. It's like soft life on the weekends, or soft life once a month, or soft life once a quarter. And I can only do that if I go and do this physical
stuff,
work, hustle, and then I can go live my temporary soft life, as opposed to understanding that you can make that a lifestyle,
integration,
a daily thing.
So
it is possible.
So slight change, but kind of off of what you just said. I think that because we have been strategically not taught our history, we very much forget that Black women are currency.
Yes.
Come on.
Period.
Ooh, come on.
Jeez.
Go back to the history books and look at any successful plantation. If you want to go there.
Ooh, you better. That'll preach.
Who held the keys to every door?
Yeah.
Who was the one that did the buying, the selling, the preparing of the plantation? Who ran the entire plantation? Was 9 times out of 10 a Black woman.
And we were bred.
And we were bred.
And produced additional workers for that
plantation.
Correct. So I think it's also a part of the system that has made us forget that we have that power and hold that power, and that's naturally within us, that we have the ability to manage, and we don't have to. Our power is not all in our bodies. A lot of it is in our bodies, but it's also in our brains as well too. And so, because the system wants us to believe that white men are the only ones that know how to make money, and that's what we look up to, and all of that other stuff. So yeah, my thing is, we always forget that we're currency, and we ran everything back in the day, but they allowed us to forget about
I
that.
want to double tap though on what you said about even the brain part, right? Because going back historically, like you said, we forget that in the history of the world, innovation has come from Black people's
Period.
forever.
So we have always created things with our brains that have turned into currency,
Right.
even if it wasn't for our communities.
Right, you're right.
And so we have this ingrained history of being the workhorses, but we need to pull from the other history of our brains creating innovation and bring that into modern day, and the identity shifts that we need to make of where we can get this, kind of $1 million soft life.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come from like the work of my hands and my body.
Do y'all remember, or was there ever a time where you might have wanted to be in entrepreneurship and you thought that you needed to? Because for me there was. I thought I had to have something tangible. I was selling hair bundles.
Books.
Yeah,
bunch
I
of
believe in
shirts.
e-commerce. Yeah.
There was skincare products. Like I didn't think like, oh, I can become a coach. Like that was never the first thing. It was like,
Even
what
though
can
you
I
were
make?
probably already coaching.
Yes. Yes.
Of course.
And I already had IP. I wouldn't have called it IP. I didn't know it was IP. But I had it. But I thought I needed to have something tangible.
Yeah.
So were you guys saying?
I've written 3 books. I've been on TV. That's something that you can show and produce. So it's like, I feel like, and even how I learned how to sell was from my mom. And growing up, she had different side hustles and she sold jewelry, she sold snacks, she sold
Mary
different
Kay?
things. Well, she did go to Mary Kay.
Everyone did Mary Kay.
Or Avon. Or Arbonne or something.
Right.
So it's always been exchanging this for that. I noticed that my mom struggled when she started doing more service-based things like taking pictures, still things like that, but it's still exchanging her time for money,
Right.
and there's still an exchange of something like that. It's not detached from the result. So
Right.
I feel like even the way I learned how to sell in my first experiences in entrepreneurship, were my family selling things and exchanging like products and
And what I'm hearing
services.
from you too is I'm hearing a lot of, okay, now I'm at the point where I'm comfortable with exchanging things that are not my physical labor, but it's still a one-to-one exchange instead of a one-to-many. Like,
Yeah, that's also it too.
even having that expanded thinking of,
Yeah.
I can do a one-to-many something.
And I think the option to set your price point is because like, I think people are okay to a certain degree with Black people making money when you think about like athletes or actors or things where it's like within a framework. Yes, it's a lot of
It's your
It is
body.
a lot of body.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with sports. But I also think like even as like physicians or whatever, it's like within a framework where they're like, well, this is the job and that's what it pays. As like you are not, it's not because you yourself are special.
Right.
or
Like
created
somebody else
anything.
set that price.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, like it's not because of your creation. It's like this is just what the role warrants, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay, this is the framework. So when you think about something like certain types of entrepreneurship, especially things like coaching, where I get to determine for myself my value, that is not something that people are familiar
Right.
with, especially as it pertains to Black women.
100%.
Which becomes triggering. And
Very.
what I've noticed is when you put it in the context of a non-Black female
Yeah.
setting their price, then it feels
That's okay.
it
Yeah.
feels normal. It
Right.
doesn't feel odd or off-putting. But when it comes to us setting our price, or having the audacity to want to provide value and get paid for it without having to physically put our efforts in, then it becomes off-putting. And a lot of times people can't even put words around why it throws them off
Yeah.
when they hear the details of, how we can serve people.
I have a controversial question for all of us to consider. I haven't even thought about it for myself yet, but do you remember a time when you were maybe also put off by
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay.
100%.
Put off by what?
By
I mean,
seeing
we
a
gonna
Black
keep it real.
woman
We keep it
set
real.
her price
Oh, absolutely.
for an intellectual property based endeavor, so like a coaching or consulting or maybe even speaking. So you guys
Yeah.
used to feel
No.
It
I
wasn't
can't
that
say
I
that.
felt triggered. I didn't think it was a possibility for a long time. Like that just didn't. I didn't see it in the crowd. Like the only rich Black person I knew was Oprah. Like I didn't know any Black rich women.
Right. So I remember. So when you found, so we were talking about this earlier, like the moment where we all found like the
A
Black
person,
women
yeah.
who were making money. For me, it was Miley Teal. It was Patrice Washington. It was Courtney Sanders. Like those people, I was like, man, Black people, like we making
Yeah.
in a business. Like
Mhm.
they're not no 9 to 5. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So in that period of time, when you found those people, do you remember
Exactly.
being like put off? I remember, I will be honest, I remember I was listening to Courtney, and Courtney's my old coach, so I love her. She's incredible. But I remember before she was my coach, I would listen to her podcast. I remember where I was, like in the mall with my AirPods on. And she said something. She said, I am supposed to be rich.
I love that.
I love that. So there was like half of me that was like, yes.
But the other part
And
was
the
like,
other part was like,
Why are you talking about money like that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that I was turned off by the individuals, but there were definitely certain things that were presented or said that I was like cringe.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would never say that.
Yeah,
out
I was
loud.
just like, ooh.
even though
I was the
lived
one
it.
that, in just general, just the coaching, like, what does that mean? What do you do? Like, you coaching? What is that? Like, is that woo? Like, what is that?
Yeah,
Like,
very woo-woo.
and how is that a business? Like that, I was that person. So it's so funny. It's just God will laugh at us because now I am like,
multiple six-figure.
I coach, you know what I'm saying? And I
She
get
be coaching, y'all.
results.
She be
I get
coaching.
results.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, coaching, smoking. Like, what is what? And
Right.
you make money this way? What
What are you
even
doing?
is
What
Yeah.
are you doing?
So it wasn't even necessarily
What's
the
the
triggering
outcome?
for me. It was
It
just
was
like
confusion.
the whole.
Yeah.
Right.
What is?
But
that?
was it off-putting?
Yeah,
Was
because it was
off-putting?
foreign to me.
Okay.
See,
I think foreign, like when things are foreign, it's a little off-putting. I
Or
didn't
you
necessarily feel
suspicious.
triggered.
I felt like maybe suspicious.
Maybe that
cautious.
Yeah.
To me, when I
Yeah.
found out about coaching, I thought it was the best thing ever. I just remember being in a specific Facebook group
When I first came.
when I was in residency, and all of a sudden seeing other Black women physicians stepping up, branding themselves, going live on social media, like talking about themselves, sharing. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm totally into it. Because I always knew that, yes, I wanted to be a doctor, but I'm like, I only see myself practicing maybe a good 10 years, and then there's something else that I need to do. And I didn't know what that was, but it's something about the confidence that I saw in them, the self-assuredness, the boldness of it all, to be saying, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm this, I've got that going on. I was attracted to that light. And I didn't realize that they were being coached. I just saw that there was something in them with the program that they were going through that I also wanted and wanted to identify with.
Right.
And that's what got me
Yeah.
looking into what they were doing, and that's how I found out about coaching and things like that. So it never felt like a scam to me. It just felt like, ooh, that's going to help me to be the person that I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I always thought.
I think also too, like, if I don't remember all the specific details of when I first heard about coaching, but I will say my memories of it were more so of on the end of hearing the coach talk about coaching as opposed to hearing the client.
The clients,
talk,
I got
which is,
you.
I think, maybe a different perspective. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
And just seeing them advertise, market, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what is that?
Yeah, but you know what? Let me ask you a question now, because how would you describe coaching to somebody?
Coaching is keeping people in action, is helping them to see things in a new and different way, and because of those shifts in the way they see things, their beliefs, it allows them to stay in action towards a specific goal. So that's how I see coaching, as opposed to education.
Right.
It's like you're teaching something in real time. It's not necessarily you're trying to keep people along a particular path.
That's interesting. How would you guys describe coaching to someone? Or how do you describe coaching to someone? Because I know both of you have clients that have never been coached before. Like, you're their very first coach. So how would you even express what coaching is to someone that was brand new to that?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah, to me it is literally about looking at what you're trying to achieve and how do we get you there, right? And I'm not trying to spend a whole bunch of time going back in time about who did you, your mamas and who did you wrong,
Which is more like
we need to move
That's
forward,
therapy.
right?
Yeah.
We need to move forward, and when you're ready to move forward and you just know you need some steps to get it done, that's when I got you. Let's go. Because there are obstacles that you just aren't even aware of, and I will help you figure that out. I'll show you exactly what that is and how to get around it so that you can.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. And then to counter that with consulting, everything you said at the beginning, what is your goal? Where are you trying to get to? These are the particular steps of how you should get there, and then it's by.
Right.
That's consulting.
That's-
Yeah.
that's
I want to
consulting.
be with you.
Yeah,
but
along
to
the journey.
keep
Because
you
there's gonna
along
be
the
hiccups.
journey and keep
Yeah.
you in action, that's
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
So I hear you guys saying, I like how you said this, Shanika. I feel like therapy is very backward looking.
Yes.
Like what has happened.
What
to
had
me.
happened?
And coaching and consulting also is very forward. How do I get to the goal? How do I move forward to where I want to be?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I use that.
So I was doing a podcast with Dr. Jeannie, also a doctor coach, in DCS, and I like the way that she explained it. She said, if you think about an athlete, if they're working with a physical therapist, that person is repairing, healing that part of the injury. But if you're working with the coach is like, oh, you have an injury. I understand that, and
we're still
how
going to-
can we get you toward the end zone with that injury? And so that was just a really great way of putting it. So for me, I always go, I'm kind of a nerd like this, but I like etymology. I like where words come from, right? So the word coach literally means movement.
Yeah.
It's the same word for car. We get it from the same word. So it's like coaches help facilitate movement from point A to a defined point B. That's it. So it's like providing the frameworks for that, helping with the mindset blocks, like helping shift their beliefs, but it's all about movement. It's all about movement. If the client's not moving, you're not coaching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always try to differentiate it as well, because people get therapy and coaching mixed up, people get consulting and coaching mixed up, and then I've noticed sometimes people get education and coaching mixed up. Because I'm like, a lot of us have worked in academics, so we have been trained educators, and I'm like, and I know how you can like when people know that about me, they think I'm going to I'm like, this, you're going to get some
There's
information
education
in it.
Yeah.
But education is like giving you this is the fact.
Right.
Yeah. And you can do
As
with it what you want.
opposed to exactly.
Not how to apply.
Exactly.
Right.
As opposed to you can do with it what you want, but also with coaching, it's like this is the fact, and I'm comparing it to this false notion that you have an understanding of. You have it all mixed up. Let me tell you what the realness is, and let me tell you how to now use that real knowledge to keep you in momentum, keep you going to a particular goal.
Right.
Which
And
is a
also
little different from
helping the client like come up with those answers as well.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just, and that's the real difference between education and coaching, because the educator is like higher and this is the way to go, and a lot of coaching is like asking questions, probing, being curious, helping uncover the limiting beliefs.
Transformational coaching.
Touche.
Let's speak on that.
Touche.
Transformational coaching.
That's redundant. To me, that's redundant.
It is. So
It should be.
It should be.
Is it?
No.
That's
But it should be.
But
you
I
know
even
why?
explained that to my clients. I said, they're like, oh, you gave me homework. I'm like, this is not homework. I know I left the job. I was the associate or assistant professor, but I'm giving you action items because I'm a coach. This is not an educational
Right.
I see that.
So here's the thing, and so it should be redundant, but I think another thing people mix up is coaching versus mentorship.
This is such a black
Not
woman.
the same thing.
Yes.
Now, do I provide mentorship? A lot of what I did this weekend with y'all was mentorship, right? There was a lot of coaching, but a lot of it was just like,
This is how you do it.
yeah, like, and also like, even just bringing y'all here, like part of that was like, what did I say to y'all? I said you have to scale your self-concept before you scale your income, and that was me, like, that's me mentoring. I'm like, come into this luxurious environment, like that.
Modeling.
It's not really, it's modeling, right?
That's how I see mentorship.
Exactly.
What I feel like people forget is that with mentorship, you don't even have to have a direct, like
You do not.
someone could be your mentor.
I have so many
from
mentors. They don't know
afar.
who the heck I am.
Yes.
They have
It's
never
about
met
modeling.
me.
Yeah.
They've never met me. Yeah, and so there's a component of mentoring in transformational coaching, but mentorship is still a separate, distinct entity. There's just a lot of people saying that they're coaching or not.
Yes.
Correct, and that's why I said transformational, because I feel like nowadays, because so many of people in our age bracket as millennials are becoming coaches because it's such a fantastic industry. That's part of the reason why. But there's a lot of people that are coached in name only and not in actually frameworks and investing in the mindset and helping you to create a new mindset so that you can get to the goal. Like you'll advertise, oh, you can make $1 million in a year, let's just say. But it's like, okay, what are you going to do for my mind to help me to truly believe that I'm going to get there? And what's going to happen along the way? It's just like when you get behind the curtain, sometimes it's just like, okay, yeah, there's like 2 seconds on mindset and then all of this stuff about action, but they breeze over the most
They just like,
part.
you need to believe in yourself.
You just need to believe in yourself. You write down you can do it. Do affirmations. It's like, yeah, if I could just affirm my way through this, I would have had it already.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
I was gonna say, and you can't do it after you've left. you haven't actually learned a new skill because they've given you action items of things that you need to do in order to like,
Homework.
yeah, like to do a task. They'll be like, oh, you need to like send these templated emails, or you need to do this thing, and you have not actually learned, like you have not flexed the creative part of your brain in any way. You have followed some instructions, and maybe you get a result, but when it's time, once the program's over and you've walked away, you don't know how to do anything. Or you're still just trying to, like, you will never be able to adapt that. You're still just trying to follow that same template of whatever they've given you without additional guidance on how to create that for yourself.
So
or
it creates,
adapt as things change, and you know things change in like 2 seconds.
right.
100%.
So that creates that codependency on whatever that coach is saying that they're offering, that you need to follow their next steps because you are not then enabled, like you said, to just, okay, I know how to do it now, copy paste, I can just repeat this multiple times.
You're not enlightened.
You're
And
not
you don't
enlightened.
have to believe.
You're informed.
There's
You're
no
not
belief.
Right,
Yeah.
and then you it
You're just doing
worsens your
stuff.
belief actually.
Yeah.
Because you now feel like I can't do this at all without following someone's
telling you.
instructions.
Right. Right.
100%.
And I think it's interesting too, and kind of sad on the flip side, because I know you're saying that there's a lot of coaches that are coaches in name and not action and framework. But on the flip side, there are a lot of people who are keeping people in momentum.
Oh,
they
100%.
are carrying them through, and they don't even realize that they're coaching. Or
Yep.
maybe they do realize that they're coaching, but they are afraid to lean into that identity.
Well,
Yes.
we have someone in DCS. Remember that coaching call where she was like, "I didn't know that I was coaching."
Oh.
Meanwhile, she was helping people get like promoted to
Yes.
like dean of whatever
That
and
was
department
recent, yes.
chair. She's like, "I had no idea that was
Coaching.
coaching. I didn't have the language for that, but she's been doing it
Yeah.
for years." So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I definitely was coaching before I knew it was coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
All of us.
100%.
It's
All
funny
of
because, you know, part of like the entrepreneurial journey is like the decision of what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And anytime you look at anyone's material about like what are you good at and what do people come to you for is like a really popular question. Like, what do people come to you for? And like part of that was like, oh well, people always come and like ask me certain questions.
You used to say
and
people always pick my brain.
They always pick my brain. They would come, like, literally wherever I was at work. Like, if I had a clinic room, there was a patient in that clinic room, there was a staff member in that clinic room. Laid up on my clinic bed, telling me about all this stuff, like, and I was like, this is what you need to do, and like, this is how we do it, and like, challenging what was going on in their minds, like, all the time, like, to the point where I didn't even realize that was my reputation. I was like, how do they know to come to me
Why
for
do they
this?
keep coming?
They keep coming. They keep asking me questions. I had a person I never worked with ask me to come into her HR meeting with her to help her express. And I was like, I don't even know what the scenario is. Like,
Wow.
what are we talking about?
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So when I had to think about, well, what am I good at, and what do people come to me for? I was like, oh, it's like I didn't have the language. I was like, maybe it's like helping them to communicate better, or like maybe it's like I didn't know what it was. So it was like until I got introduced to a coaching community. I don't know what that was.
I think it's the ice.
I was gonna say we will run up out of this. And will. Don't hear a noise.
And
Okay. But yeah, until I was introduced to that as a concept, I didn't realize that was what I was doing, and that it had tremendous value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This kitchen to get
The
together.
kitchen is doing all sorts
Doing
of
its
things.
thing.
y'all.
Doing
All
its
sorts
thing.
of
There's noises, but yeah.
My pathway into coaching was kind of definitely not like a direct path like that. It was like, particularly since I'm a real estate coach, we always talk about the market. It's like the market will tell you what it will pay for, what it needs. And I was doing consulting as a side hustle, which was an accident in itself. I was trying to get people to stop asking me questions, so I started charging. I was like, you guys, I have like 12 jobs. Like I'm teaching these residents, these med students. I have my properties that I manage. Like I don't have time to keep like trying to explain.
I remember you
how
saying these things.
I swear, and I started charging people, and then they paid.
Kept coming.
Yep.
And I increased the price, and then
They kept coming.
and then it would be one person, they would come, and like we talked about the definition of consulting, so it would be like a snapshot in time and then buy, but then they would come back. So it's like, okay, now I'm getting you to
Now go away again.
something longitudinal here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Still
so,
wasn't even calling it coaching then when I was like, I just need a longitudinal program.
Yeah.
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 That's what I was calling it.
Yeah. You were, and you were like, people they keep coming back. I'm like, yeah, because they want the transformation.
They want to be transformed.
It was all an accident. It was like,
I wish I had that problem. I've been like, Lord have mercy. It took me a long time to figure out. I feel like it took a long time to figure out what I was going to do.
It took her a month.
no.
It took her a month, y'all. It took her a month.
It's like Instagram.
She made 12K in a month.
Don't believe her.
Don't
believe the hype Instagram.
It was in her head. It was in her head. She made 12K in a month. Okay.
Not about, well, I'm just talking about coaching in general. It just took me, because I knew about it since I was finishing residency. But once I finished residency, I'm like, so what do I do?
Yeah.
I thought about, okay, could I be a coach? But what would I coach somebody on? How to get into medical school? Like, how to be an emergency physician after going to a Caribbean medical school? I felt very attached to medicine.
Yeah.
And I went back to the fact that I didn't want to be the doctor version of me at work. When I go home, it's like, okay, so now what do I have? So it took me, honestly, going through everything that I did with burnout at work to then build my own business, heal myself, and was like, oh, okay, I can teach other people to be entrepreneurs now too. Now that I have failed multiple different times or tried a bunch of different things and did not make any money successfully out of it. So now, of course, this is it. This is the ticket. But that's why I say it took me a while. Because I knew about coaching and I knew what it was, but I didn't find my own identity in that and something that I could help with. Because you remember, you coached me. I thought I was going to be both a career and business coach because, I can help you to make sure that your job situation is good. Similarly to what you do. Actually, you do it way better, clearly. And I was like, but if you're burnt out, I can teach you how to do this business instead of just F that and let's just do this business.
Right.
Yeah. So.
You brought up the word identity.
Yes, I did.
Sometimes I've noticed
How
that
much identity
that is one of the gaps and one of the potential barriers to people really leaning into their value outside of medicine. It's like that identity or how connected you are to the identity of being a doctor, and then taking in a new identity and maybe letting go that doctor identity.
I think you were saying earlier, like, how many identities you have over the course of your lifetime and how much that has changed. Like, who you were when you were a teenager versus a 20-something versus a 30-something, before doctors, like, after, whatever. And you were like, yeah, you could just change it. And we were like, no, people hold their identities.
I mean, you wanted to be a doctor since you were 5. You
I was
said
6, and I wanted to be a singer.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to be a teacher and a doctor.
There you go.
Same thing.
The word doctor means teacher.
Yeah.
But like you've been working toward it forever. Your whole self-worth is really wrapped up in your accomplishments. And so it's like, I grieved when I did not renew my license.
And I'm still not ready to give up.
Yeah, and that's fine.
That was something you guys were talking to me about.
Girl, the patients are still the same.
I'm like,
Yeah.
You're not missing out on anything.
even though for me it's been over a year since I've seen a patient, for the people who are following who don't know me.
And it wasn't because to be clear, I wasn't nervous. It wasn't like, I might need it someday. No, I knew that this was gonna work. It was just, I'm not
Like, wow, this is how chapter is ending.
Yeah.
Like, that was a huge identity shift that I had to work through with my therapist / life coach at the time. It's not easy.
And I think there's two components, right? Because there's an internal component of, like, this is who I am through the formative years, and then there's the external,
all the
everybody
people
else who's like,
all the people.
They no matter, as soon as they hear where you're a doctor, like, where do you practice?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the immediate question.
And then
so
it's like,
not
I still
having
get
an
a little
answer-
bit of a, but it's kind of like a, what do I say?
A flutter.
I'm just like, I'm retired, and then they just look at me crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I like it. I like the kind of
I like
conversation
it.
starter.
I like it now, but in the beginning, it was definitely like, what do I say? So now I have my answer. I'm like, I'm a physician entrepreneur. I just say I'm a retired physician.
I would
No,
say I'm a
business.
recovering ER doctor.
Recovering?
I love that.
Wow.
That's what I say.
I'm recovering.
No, seriously.
hospital.
But I
I'm
think
still
people
in
can
recovery.
understand that, especially post-COVID, because they
I am
they
literally
know
recovering.
how, like much wear and tear every
Especially ER.
Especially ER. So I feel like that's something that's still relatable.
I think people are saying stuff.
Hi people.
Hey people.
Sorry,
you guys saying stuff. I think
I
saw something scroll, so I just wanted to be sure.
The different definition of coaching and who we do it through our lives. Or I guess how we do it through our lives. That's Dr. Joselle. She's a member of the Dr. Coach School. And she says, hey, Timmy, I was trying to tag you. Hey, Timmy. So Dr. Joselle said that identity in our profession is huge. And that's very true.
It's so true.
Because you know what? That's so true because we, especially as Black women, we take so long.
Read the comments.
We take so
shade. Oh, that is so smart. You're so
I'm
smart.
too much of a millennial. I'm an elderly millennial.
Geriatric.
I'm geriatric. Sorry,
Geriatric. It was Shanika. So we take so long to get to medicine, right? Like we are the only little Black girls in our classes for residency, for medical school, in our, practices or what have you. So I do think identity is huge because we want to be identified when we walk in that patient's room as the doctor. And so we hold a lot of that. Like, I am the doctor.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
So that I never really thought about it like that, Dr. Joselle, because it's like, to me, for this, like I guess I've earned the respect, and I know that, and I feel like where I trained, I got a lot of respect as a doctor because most of my patients looked like us, and so they were happy to say, yes, you're the doctor. We are so proud of you. They don't even know me, and so it's still easy for me to kind of flip in and out of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably why, especially for Black women too, like I said, like we have issues with switching identities because it took so long for us to get there, and then when we have it, we still don't get the respect that we deserve a lot of times.
Go ahead. Sorry. One other thing that came up where you were talking that I remembered, I was having a conversation with someone else about, I think the term is sunken cost fallacy.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Or sunk cost fallacy.
Can you share more about that?
So it's like,
that's a big one.
It's almost like one of those heuristical errors, right?
This affects your sales calls too.
Yeah. It affects so many things. It affects me as an investor. It affects so many things.
Have you heard about like with the line? Have you ever it's like you ever see people in a line, and once you get on the line, right? Even though it's taking way longer than you intended, you're like, but I already waited so much. So now you're not willing to give up. Even though it's not like, it may not even be moving, but you are just like, I've already invested. So you're willing to invest so much more time because of the amount you've already invested, even
if you know it's not working for you.
Yes.
Right. And then you can acknowledge that the time you're going to invest is way more than what you've already invested.
And I'm wondering, now that you know that definition, do you think that plays
absolutely.
So into women being physicians, or even the type of practice, not even just like being a doctor altogether, but even the way that they practice? They're like, well, I've gone down this academic path, I can't get community.
It's sunk cost, and it's also there's another. I'm trying to remember the name of the heuristic, but it's along the lines of status quo, like just maintaining the status
everything
quo.
Just
like
needs
even
like
keel, so don't rock the boat. So it's like both of those like really set people up against wanting to take on a new identity, because it's like I done been here for so like I might as well continue, even though you're burnt out, you hate it, you're not happy, you want to do something else, it's 100%.
For sure.
100%. For
sure.
And I'm just such a sales call nerd. I'm like, that's also happening.
Some cost fallacy. You gotta know that.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah. They'd rather stay, even though they know they should move forward. It's too much for the lives.
Yeah.
It's going in the curriculum. It's going in the curriculum.
That's good. That's good.
That's really good.
That's good. That's good. But going back to the sunk cost fallacy, this came up while you were talking, but going back to identity, I think the identity block or barrier also
sorry, y'all. That elderly knees.
has a relation or is inverse to like how.
Almost here. So we
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
We're wrapping it up, y'all. How do we want to wrap it up?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let
I
us-
all of this.
Yeah, I mean, we could just. Did y'all like it? Did you like the conversation? If you did, say something.
Give us a heart.
Let us know. Maybe we'll do it again in the future.
We will do it again. We have to.
We will do it again in the future.
Are there any other comments, Shanika, that you're seeing?
Oh, Dr. Giselle.
Great live.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you. All right, y'all.
Wait a minute. Do you have any announcements?
I was just about to.
Oh, amen.
All right, y'all. That was my.
Oh, okay, that's a church
segue. But y'all, do y'all have announcements? Let's get y'all announcements.
Oh, do I have an announcement? Well, the only thing I will be announcing is that I will be doing a summit on March 30th.
Is that right?
Yes.
And what, pray tell, is the name of the summit?
The summit is Create Your Own Market. So for those who don't know, I'm your favorite coach's favorite creative real estate investing coach. And so I want people to learn how to create their own real estate market. And so that's going to be on March 30th at noon.
I love
You heard it here first.
I love that. How'd you come up with that?
My people.
So
My
good.
people.
So good.
I have a lot of things coming up. So my name is Dr. Kimberly B here on Instagram. I have a lot of things coming up. On Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, I am doing a webinar called 3 Secrets to Becoming a Burnout-Free CEO Without Wearing the White Coat. That is registration only, so you can go to my page and hit the button. You can register there. I also have my own podcast launching very, very soon. It's called the Docs Get Money podcast, and you will see these lovely ladies featured on the podcast as well too. I'm super excited about that. And I am a business coach. I help doctors be burnout through entrepreneurship, and I do that with my program From Side Hustler to CEO. The doors are open for that, so if you're interested in learning more about getting to the bag real fast, I'm talking about less than 90 days, making 4 or 5 figures, you need to hit me up in my DMs.
Yes.
Comfortable, confidence. All right, ma'am.
Yes. So I don't have a date for mine, but it is coming up because we're going to talk about some contract secrets. It's all the things
secrets.
these people do not want you to know, but we going to know them, reveal them,
Right.
and surprise them with our negotiation skills. So I don't know. I'm Dr. Shanika. I'm the Black Doctor on Instagram, and I am your favorite physician coach on negotiation. Because what we're going to do is make this money. We deserve it.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot to say I'm at Capital Dynasty, CapitalDynasty, at Capital Dynasty.
Dynasty.
With your announcement.
Can't see the comments on replay.
Oh, you can.
No, you can't.
You can? Oh, that sucks.
You have to spell it. She right. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining. If you are a doctor and you want to be a coach, you should join the Doctor Coach School.
Join us.
The best. Oh, we have a reel coming.
It's going to be good.
So good. We recorded it today. So if you want to learn how to make 6 figures in your coaching business and do it while you're still a physician, after rounds, while you're still after the OR, like, you don't have to give up medicine to have a thriving coaching business. I want to help you do that. Just go to the drcoachschool.com/training and join me on April 2nd. We all have trainings coming up. Like, within a few days of each other.
Yeah.
April 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to show you how to do just that.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. And what I want you to do next is link us everywhere you can. Instagram at The Black Doctor. Just become part of our collective. I want you here. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.